Okay, Eric had talked to me a little bit about teaching on the rule of life. But see, I went to school and for like 3 to 5 years of postgrad. And so trying to condense everything into a 5-minute teaching might be a little challenging. But what I did want to do is say, at this time of the year, all of us are kind of evaluating the year and we're looking at uh, what went well this year. We talking about curriculum, what didn't go well. Did I get overcommitted and get buried? And was I working too hard and it was destroying my relationship with my family and my friends and my God? So it's good to evaluate everything. But what came to me when I think about the rule of life is that, okay, I'm going to draw a picture. Let's see if I can get this. Here's all right, if you can see, this is a picture right here, and this is what I think this will help illustrate it best, is that if you can see there, here we are. Let's pretend that this is Jesus. He is the vine, and we are the branch, right? Okay, and then we start every day. Oh, that's okay. Every year we start out and we go, oh, this is so exciting. We're going to teach school, blah, 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 blah. And we start doing activities and all kinds of stuff. And and all year long we're evaluating curriculum and we're studying and we're praying and we're doing all this stuff. And at the end of the year, we look at this big thing and go, wow, look at all that growth. Ooh. And we're really excited about that, which is fine. And then we evaluate. We go, okay, like, so what's really important here? Where did it get too heavy so that it was tearing me apart down here? You know, because of the weight of our activities can get too much and they can weigh down. Here you are. This is you. And here's your connection to God down here. Sometimes our activities get to be too much and they weigh us down and they pull us away from God and they can start to tear us, right? We've all experienced that. That's what Eric's talking about, being a kind of working too much. Other times we cannot be doing enough. And because there's not enough going on here, it doesn't strengthen this branch at all. But here's the thing that we're going to have a temptation to do with the rule of life is we evaluate all of our activities because this is where we think the growth is. And that is some growth, okay? But the growth that the Father is more interested in is this right here. This connection point is the part that a vine dresser looks at. This is the growth that has to take place, okay? So let me get my little marker out here. This growth right here is the part that the vine dresser is concerned about. So he's not looking at this up here. We look at that, but the vine dresser is going to say, how did you grow? Did you grow stronger here? Did you get a thicker connection to God? Because all of this up here is simply to strengthen this connection. All right, you think about all the things that we go through the year. Our prayer times, our time of discipleship, all of that is to strengthen our connection to God so that this gets stronger and stronger, and our commitment to abiding in Christ gets stronger and deeper and wider. And that point of growth is where we can't get so distracted with evaluating all this growth up here that we forget that this is the core spot. Jesusism is this connection is what is going to bear the most fruit, okay? So if you're only a tiny little branch coming off, you're only capable of bearing a tiny bit of fruit. So a vine dresser is looking at this going, you need to be really strengthened here. And the way to get strengthened here is to have lots of, you want to have growth up here, a lot of activities. You're going to connect with people, you're going to pray, you're going to study the word, and you're going to connect with people in discipleship and service. And as long as that's not going to break this off, if your load is too heavy, it'll rip. It'll tear at your relationship with God. But you want to have it heavy enough so that it's pulling, that tension is going to make that branch stronger and stronger. So at this point in the year, we always evaluate, oh, let's evaluate the programs. Let's evaluate the discipleship and all that. And that's good. But what I want to encourage you to do while we have this COVID hoo-ha going on is I want you to consider all of this up here in light of this connection. What was it, I want you to think about, what was it that really strengthened my relationship with God this year? Strengthened that attachment. What was it that pulled me away from my relationship with God? Okay, because there's always going to be things, like you can look at the things, you look at some things are going to tear you away from God. Some things are going to just kind of hang around. Like there's positive things that really strengthen your relationship with God. There's negative things that take your time, your resources, your energy away from your relationship with God. And then there are things that are kind of neutral. They just kind of hang there, So one of the things that we did when I was in my practicum, here, I'm back here. Every year, we had to take a silent retreat. It was mandatory. You had to take a 3-day silent retreat. And that means you go away for 2 or 3 days and you unplug completely. You unplug, you take no computers, no phones, no nothing. And you just get alone with God and you ask God to evaluate your year. Okay, and you say, God, what were the things that really strengthened my relationship with you? What are things that dissipated me, that spread me out too thin? What are things that distracted? And the only way that you can really discern that is by having quiet time with God for him to be able to speak to you. So in the program, every year when we started school, we would take a silent retreat for 3 days. And then so that you could clear out, because if you go to, remember Jesus said, I am the vine and you're the branches. You have to remember that you're not a peach tree. Jesus likened us to a vine, okay? And then, so every year a vine dresser comes through and goes like this. He erases all this growth. So that if you go to Michigan, all up and down the coast, you're going to see vineyards full of little stumps, these little stumps that come out of the ground, because no fruit is going to grow on old vines. It just doesn't work that way. It has to be new vines, new growth. So when you go on a silent retreat, you're taking off everything. You're taking it all away and you're saying, okay, now, what was it that fostered that relationship with God? And that's the part that you want to really focus on, because if there are things that are distracting you or dissipating you, you need to just take an axe to it. You got to cut it off. And then if there are things that are really helping you to grow in the Lord, you want to foster that. You want to nurture it. You want to support that. And so that you can really grow in that connection, because the thicker and stronger and deeper that abiding, the more fruit will come. If your little vine is only as big as a pinky, there we go, then you're only going to be able to bear so much fruit. So the Father wants that thickness to be, he wants it to be wrist thick, because then so much more growth, so much more fruit. So that's how you start. You start by analyzing your life and ripping away the things that are bad for you and building in the things that are good. So that's how you get started. And I know that not everybody can take a 3-day retreat, but when I was in the program, 3 days retreat was mandatory. They wanted you to do 2 of those a year, and then do one day retreat every month, because there's all this growth and all this frenzy that happens, and it pulls us away from what our focus is going to be. And so we have to be very intentional about that. So that's all I wanted to share today, was just to say, take some time during this COVID hoo-ha to really analyze the things that you want to support and nurture and the things that you want to rip away. So that's a start.